Margaret is in Bradford. Margaret, what do you think he should do?
Well, I think the parliamentarians, the people who are Remainers, have boxed him into a terrible corner. It's almost like running a race.
So hang on, sorry.
Hang on, I want to speak.
Yes, but you're not answering my question. What do you think Boris Johnson should do?
Well, he's in a position where he can't do very much now because he's got Bercow going out to the EU, telling the EU that they can't accept anything that he says.
Sorry, just run that bit by...
about that at the moment.
Run that by me again. When did Bercow do that?
Pardon?
When did Bercow do that?
It was in last week. It was in the paper. Well, in one paper.
Which paper?
Yet again, the BBC
Was it the Express?
Quiet. Pardon?
Was it the Express?
No, it was the Independent.
It was the Independent. So John Bercow did what in Brussels?
He's been having consultations with one of the leaders in the EU Parliament, and he's
but what does that? How does that change Boris Johnson?
Over and above the Prime Minister, asking him not to accept a no deal or anything like that.
But
and
they don't accept, Margaret. No one accepts no deal. No deal is what happens when nothing is accepted.
No deal has been put there by the Remainers because they've not allowed him to do as he wanted, which was to leave, as the fault position was, or still is.
Listen, I don't want to upset you, and I promise I'm going to listen to you. But if we both calm down a bit and start again, no deal was put there by Remain people, and John Bercow has told the European Parliament not to accept no deal, and you got this out of the Independent.
I've got this, yes, from reliable resources, and there's a petition going on at the moment by some barrister, a legal barrister, who's trying to have him for treason because he's usurped the Prime Minister.
Right.
He's gone above
and if
him.
I said how has he usurped the Prime Minister, you'd say what?
Because he's got to be impartial. He's the Speaker in the House. He's got to be impartial, and he's overstepped the mark, and he's gone. As a Remainer.
So no, that's not treason, though, is it?
It is treason.
Well, I'm sorry, Margaret, but it doesn't matter how many times you say it. It isn't.
It is treason.
Okay.
It's treason because if I was running a race, right, and the people who were judging the race decided they didn't like me and started to throw tacks on the racetrack, and I stumbled and fell, and somebody behind me who they liked wanted me to win the race, then that's what you're calling democracy. And I take exception to your comments about people like myself who are staunch leavers. Take exception to the language that you use about us. We're not ignorant.
But you just accused
the
Speaker of treason, and you're uncomfortable with my language.
I'm uncomfortable with your language, yes.
But you just said treason.
What's wrong with treason? Treason is when you go against the country.
Yes, but he hasn't gone against the country, has he?
Treason, wasn't he?
No, he hasn't gone against the country, Margaret, because you haven't said anything substantive. I'm sorry if you find that word offensive, but you've just gibbered.
I'm sorry.
So am I.
Is determined by the fact
Margaret, you're
that
jibbering.
people go against the country, and the country voted to leave.
Well, okay, so what do you mean?
How many other
Margaret,
words
you're gibbering.
in the English vocabulary are you going to deem the Remainers? Are you going to say are unspeakable?
Pardon?
You've mentioned a few yourself online today.
I'm not complaining. You're the one complaining about language. If you can, in a sentence or two, the point you rang in to make, without using words like treason or...
Do we have a corrupt group of Remainers in Parliament or doing their utmost to stop Brexit?
You're talking about the people that voted 3 times for the withdrawal agreement.
I'm talking about people who are trying to stop Brexit.
No, yes, but
they've done it from the beginning because they didn't want it to happen.
Yes, but who?
And I'm sorry, that's my comment, and that's all I have to say about it.
And that's Brexit in a nutshell. That's Brexit in a nutshell, you see, because you're perfectly entitled to gibber, but I have to then ask you to explain yourself or ask you questions, at which point you respond by saying, that's it, I'm not going to say anything else, I've completed my comment. So just some names of the people that you think are part of this this group of people that have sabotaged. I don't even understand the point that you've made, Margaret. I can only apologise. But some names of the people that are on your naughty list. And that's why we are where we are, my friends. There we are. Jibber, 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 jibber. Nonsense, 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 nonsense. Treason, 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 treason. Wine, wine, wine. Poor me, poor me, poor me. Don't ask me any questions. Hang up. That's why we are where we are. So what happens next is that Margaret will persuade herself that what Boris Johnson has done is a good thing, despite the fact that it's worse than what Theresa May did. And John Bercow will be executed for treason.